Last night I was able to see the new thriller Blink Twice, so let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. If you've seen Blink Twice, what did you think about it? And if you haven't seen it, what's your excitement level for it? With that said, let's get started with the review. Right from the get-go, I'll say that this is the type of movie that is the most difficult to review without going into spoilers. Because the nature of the film is a group of people go off to this island that superficially looks like a paradise. Eerie things start to happen. Clearly something's wrong. And so the whole movie is built around the answer to a question. What is going on this island? Thus, a spoiler. And movies like this, whether they work as a whole, is dependent on how satisfying that answer is, how much it pulls everything together and feels earned versus feeling like a cheat or like it came out of nowhere. But you can't really unpack that answer without dabbling too much into spoilers. In particular, with this movie, there's the answer. There's how the answer ties into kind of the messaging of the film, because it's not clear what the movie is about until we start moving into answer category. And then you realize the film that you are watching. And then, of course, the actual payoff of the third act of the film. You can't go into too many details about any of those things without spoiling the twist, reveal, answer for the film. All that to say, this is very much a mixed bag film for me, where so much of it worked. And this was Zoë Kravitz's directorial debut. This is the actress that played Catwoman in The Batman. It's Lenny Kravitz's daughter, been acting for a long time in a bunch of big, gigantic projects. This is her directorial debut, and she co-wrote the script. And there's no shortage of ways in which she shows a lot of talent with the camera. Just the framing of the shots kind of creates this both beautiful appearance, but also something is just off about its perfection. There's a bunch of ways that she shoots scenes and cuts between things as you're kind of experiencing this paradise that's unsettling. And some of it is kind of the usage of the camera. There's certain rules that are normally used in shooting sequences where you don't want to break the line. You don't want to shoot on the wrong side of a character because it's disorienting for the audience. If you tilt the camera suddenly in specific ways, it just makes the audience feel off. And this movie does a ton of that intentionally to make you feel unease, like something's not quite right here. This isn't the way this is supposed to play out. And then the way it kind of edits together the events of them at this paradise, it does a series of things where you'll be following something happening, and then it cuts to something that's a continuation of like people running, people playing a game, but it cuts to a different day as if it's the same event. And it's just like this very choppy style, but it's supposed to be. All of this puts you in the perspective of our lead character, where you're seeing images that at the surface are beautiful, but at the same time, something is clearly off. And she's able to communicate and do all of that with the camera work, with the editing, all choices that she made as a director. So there's a lot there that's really good. Even a number of the performances kind of really stand out to you. Channing Tatum has a bit in here where he does a little bit of a monologue that is guaranteed to be meme fuel of the future. This is going to be a Twitter GIF that you can share. The clip people are going to be posting. Guaranteed that's going to happen. And our two lead ladies here, I think, also do a really nice job. One of them is the lead actress from Hitman, the Glenn Powell film from a couple months back. She's also in Andor, and she kind of continues her rise, kind of establishing herself as this strong performer with a screen presence that can go between being strong and soft. And that's what her character does really well, of becoming off very defensive, not defensive, very aggressive in one moment, but also being able to soften and also be funny. And she pulls all of that off really well in the film. And to what I mentioned before, the movie does kind of create this great sense of unease. And you're like, what is going on here? And there's a series of things that it lingers on a shot and you go, I need to pay attention to that. Okay, how does that tie into this mystery? It does a good job of leaving clues and making you guess. You can start to kind of piece it together, but you know you're missing something. And it also presents information in a way that appropriately, like a good sleight of hand, has you looking in the wrong direction. The way it presents information to the audience, we're in the perspective of this one girl. So if she doesn't know something, then the audience doesn't know it. And so it kind of continues to do a good job of hiding kind of where things are going and misdirecting you in all the right ways by sticking to the perspective of our lead character. And once again, through the camera work, having that disorientation that she is feeling. Final real positive on here is it's surprisingly funny. And I felt like as it went along, it got funnier and funnier. Like there's a little bit of like organic humor at the beginning between the lead character and her friend that just kind of banter and have fun. And so you kind of like them. They're kind of charming a little bit, but not in a big joke setup sort of sense. Just people that are funny the way that your friends are funny. And as it goes along and things start getting kind of weirder and weirder, there's more and more people's reactions to things. And then they play into how they're trying to make things happen in a way that got very entertaining. All that said, when you move into the section where it starts giving you answers, on the one hand, it didn't feel like entirely like they cheated me. When they started answering questions, it was like, okay, okay, all right, I see where you're going with this. There's a little bit of magic logic to how some of this plays out. Like, that's not how that would work. That's not a thing. But some built into the premise of you're going to do one of these eerie Twilight Zone-esque things that you just accept that something's going to happen that allows the improbable. It just feels like they cheated a little bit for the sake of the script. But when it starts giving you answers, it starts pulling in what it's trying to say and comment on. There's too much in there, and it's a very muddled message. And I was kind of tracking along with it in a sense of like, okay, some of this I don't think I like where you're going with this, but I can handle it. And then the last couple of minutes, the note that it actually ends on, where it actually goes, final couple of minutes, I think really soured me on the movie of like, I don't really even know what you're trying to say now. I don't know what that resolution means, how that, in terms of the message you're communicating, the ideas about power, I don't get what you're trying to say about this character, the issues at hand. And there's just a few too many things kind of going on here where there's what's going on with the women and how they relate to each other, how they relate to the men. There's what's going on with Channing Tatum's character. And it seems like his character has his own kind of thing it's trying to explore. But I still don't even really know what it was trying to say, what I was supposed to take away from like his monologue that he gives and how it ties into everything else in light of his actions and complicity and things. And so there's just like a bunch of different things kind of going on. Like I said, it's really tough to discuss it without saying the spoilers. As soon as you say the spoilers, I can say exactly what doesn't work. But when I'm tiptoeing around it's inherently very vague, where it felt like they had an idea that they wanted to use the movie as this metaphor for real life abuses that take place. And they wanted each character to kind of represent different reactions to the real life issues. But the logic gets so strained and everyone's actions in light of it, like you can't pull together all these different things in the metaphor. The metaphor breaks down, in which case the film's message breaks down, and it's just like, what are you trying to say right now? What is, like, that's a really strange note to end on in light of everything that you've communicated. So I was not crazy about how it pulled everything together in the end. But even like, I was trying to like as it was happening, as it was revealing things, I was like, I kind of don't like where this is heading and the implications of what you're saying right now in the context of the movie. I don't know about this. And then it did other things where it's like, okay, this is actually a pretty satisfying third act. There's a lot here that's like, just on its own terms, delivers the emotional payoff that you want. And then it kept going. And it went places where it just... like I said, in particular, what it does in the final reveal, the last 2 minutes of the movie, I feel like it almost undoes the whole, whatever it was trying to communicate, whatever it was saying about abuse and things like power and all this. Like, I just think it got completely lost. So I even kind of would love to see an interview with Zoë Kravitz explaining what she was trying to say with all of that. But overall, a movie with so many things that I thought really did work, and then at the same time goes just a little bit too off the rails towards the end of it. I think if it hadn't ended where it ended, I would have given it a mixed slight positive. Because of the last 2 minutes, I think I have to go mixed negative because I just do not like the note that it ended on. And I think it just undid too much of the positives in the film. Overall, I'm going with a C+ on the entertainment scale, a 6.5 out of 10. And this is one that you can wait to stream. There are some things here that really work, but the script, the message, the final answers, in particular the final reveal, undid a little bit too much of it so that I can't really recommend it. Let me know your thoughts down below, and keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.